This conference will now be recorded.
Hello all, good morning. Welcome back. Yeah. Fine. So yesterday, some errors posted in the group, right?
Yes, sir. Were everyone getting the same issues, pending issues?
Yeah. Node servers you started, right? You people started node servers, right?
Yes, sir. After node servers also same issue.
Same issue. Okay. And also, nodes are in ready state or not? Nodes and clusters.
Is not showing not ready, sir.
That is the issue. If it is not ready, you will get errors. Pods will not run.
But
Because
how
of
will we are starting node servers service, but it's showing not ready.
not ready means you did some mistake while configuring cluster.
When I starting configure, it's showing good, sir. After next day when I started again, it's happening, sir. In last Friday, Monday we completed this one node server how to configure. Monday we done for the ready mode, but Tuesday is happening same issue.
Yeah, I configure cluster, right? Still it is running fine without an issue. Let me show you. This is my master. Yeah, once you log in into this, once you connect your console, first you need to switch to user. Whatever user we created, that user we need to switch here. Sudo su space hyphen kubeadmin. Right now, if you check, the command is kubectl get nodes. So these are showing ready, right? Same way I configured, right, in front of you. Still it is showing ready. Same commands I used. Your node is not ready, not showing. It is showing not ready.
Yes, sir. In master also it's showing not ready.
Do one thing. You can delete that servers once, and you can go through the video once again, and you can configure one more time. Okay, some cluster issue is there. Cluster issue only.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so it will be resolved. If the nodes are not ready, your pods will not be available. Pods will not be ready. Okay, that is why. So this cluster should be running state, ready state. Then only you can able to perform activities. Got it,
Okay,
right?
sir. I'll try. Yeah, I'll try.
Any others? Others, you got same issues, right? So yesterday, Damodar also pinged me. He's also getting same issue.
Yeah, sir. Mohan shared one message, sir.
Mohan. Okay, yeah. Pullback error. Image pullback error. So we'll see that. We'll see that. Don't worry. So pullback error means something manifestation side something happened that will perform. Okay, don't worry. I just deleted the YAML file and recreated it and it worked. Okay. YAML issue, YAML file issue, right? And pod status error pull. Okay. Yeah, image pullback of error. Yeah, definitely we'll discuss that. Okay, we have troubleshooting session. In that, we corrupt one pod and we can resolve that pod issue. Okay, so I'll show you that. Don't worry. You have troubleshooting session tomorrow or day after. We'll work on that tomorrow or Monday. So we'll work on that troubleshooting session. By that I'll show you. Fine. Yeah. Let us discuss about yesterday we discussed about labels, right? This pullback errors definitely I'll show you when we work on troubleshooting part. So that is very important. So we have troubleshooting session. By the time I'll show you. If any manifest file is corrupted, by the time we'll get that pullback errors. Okay, image pullback errors. I'll show you that. Don't worry about. First, we'll discuss about labels today. After that, so networking we haven't performed anything, right? Lab that also we can discuss. Okay. First, we discuss about labels. So I recap once again this. So what is a label? I recap it quickly. Right. So Kubernetes labels. What is basically label? Label is nothing but it is a naming convention, right? It is a naming convention. So why we require labels? Normally when we create any pods or any containers, so default name we use, right? So for example, here in the console, kubectl get pods. If you type kubectl get pods, so these are the pods available. Here we have pod names, default names we are using here. See here, my HTTPD, my Nginx, my HTTPD1, different names we are using, default names. So in this case, what will happen? So when we perform any activity, by the time the parts which we created, which we can confused, right? Because in which part, which applications are deployed and which parts, which containers are available. Okay. So because the same name we are using here, Nginx, but ID will be different. So this ID will be different, but name is same. Hey, my Nginx, right? So due to this, we'll get some confusion, right? So using labels, how can we assign names, proper names? We'll try to understand now. Okay, fine. Let us go and create some labels. Yeah, I want to create some. Yesterday we discussed something. So every application will have front end, back end, database, right? Yesterday we discussed, right? So quickly, I give you some idea about this before moving to lab. So front end means first we'll have selectors, okay. For example, we have one web server, okay. For this front end team, environment is production, okay. And a team, what is the team working on this? Team is admin team, okay. Like this, normally we assign some labels. And next one is backend team, backend. So for this environment is selectors will be there. Environment is production, and team, development team, dev team, okay. And also we, if you want to give any application versions, you can give application version, app version. So 1.2.4 something you can give, okay. Like this you can create labels. And also we have DB team, database, front end, back end, database. Every application will have this three required, right, for every application. So for a database, selectors will be there. So after that, environment, production, and a team will be DB team, right? Like this front end, back end database we create. Let us go and create this lab. Right. So here commands are like kubectl, run front end space hyphen image we can use Nginx space hyphen restart equal to, we can use never space hyphen labels equal to environment equal to production, comma, team equal to admin. Labels team. Okay, like this we can check. Yeah, we can test it now. kubectl run front end. Image is this one. Restart never labels. Yeah. Okay, it's giving error.
So the where spelling is
Which one?
restart spelling is wrong.
Oh, okay. Start never. I think never not required. So I can remove this. Oops, it here. Get pods. See here. Front end is created. See here. Front end is created, right? Front end is created. But labels, how can we understand labels? Front end is created. There is no label expression here. Okay. So now what I will do, kubectl get pods space hyphen show 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 hyphen labels. See here, these are the labels. So here environment it is showing, right? Environment production team is admin team, right? So here this is the name, pod name. Now here labels, environment we can understand, and also production it is a pod, and team is admin team. So using these labels we can understand this pod is for which application, this pod is for which team, right? This pod is for which environment, we can understand using these labels. So these pods, there is no information here. See here, nothing is there. This pods yesterday we created, right? So for these pods we haven't give any environment details, team details, right? So front end we created using the labels. So using these labels you can identify, okay? And also back end also we can create now, back end. Backend. Yeah, for backend we have team is development team, right? Dev team. Development team and production only environment. Image Nginx, same you can use, enter. Yeah, backend created here. Right, now we can go to kubectl get pods. Yeah, show command you can use, right? Show labels. See here, this is the backend, right? So this is environment, production, team is development team. So this application backend team who is working on that we can understand, and this is production application or test application or which application we can understand. So what are the things available inside of this? Okay, we can understand using these labels, and also we can create DB also.
So one doubt over here. So if you're auto scaling it, then how can we keep labels for that?
Auto scaling, yeah, So here Kubernetes is having self-healing and auto-scaling options, right? For example, if this pod is corrupted, okay, one pod, I'll show you that. One pod is corrupted, what will happen? I'll explain that. Database team is DB team. Yeah, results created. Yeah, so we have created database front end, back end with labels. Okay, so we can understand. For example, one backend pod is corrupted. For example, this pod is corrupted. Okay, so Kubernetes will check whenever auto scaling and self-healing enabled. So in licensing version, that will be available, self-healing and auto scaling. Okay, so when we configure licensed version, enterprise edition, okay, in that self-healing and auto scaling will be available. By the time if the pod is corrupted, automatically it will recreate using the storage which we are using backend. So in the storage, the data will be available. Using the storage, it will recreate the pod with the same original state. Okay, so మనం already AWS లో చూసాం కదా. AWS లో when we discuss about AWS, when we enable auto scaling, so మీకు tag name కూడా change అవ్వదు. Even though tag name also it will take. Backend లో స్టోరేజ్ ఉంటుంది, మీకు ట్యాగ్ నేమ్ కూడా చేంజ్ అవ్వదు. మనకు ఆటో స్కేలింగ్ లో AWS లో, so when we delete any instance, automatically it will recreate, right? By the time, even tag name also will not be changed. The same way ikkada kuda ante, here also same. So this labels will not be changed. Okay, that adi enterprise edition lo auto scaling anedi enable ayi untundi by default. Next self healing kuda enable avutundi. సో మనం Kubernetes ఇంజనీర్ గా, Kubernetes అడ్మిన్ గా మీరు ప్రాజెక్ట్ లోకి వెళ్తే కనుక మీకు ఎక్కువ 90% మానిటరింగే ఉంటుందండి. ఎందుకంటే Kubernetes is having self healing capabilities, right? సో రీక్రియేషన్ జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. సో ఇంకెప్పుడైనా పాడ్స్ రీస్టార్ట్ అవుతూ ఉంటాయి, పాడ్స్ విల్ రీస్టార్ట్, హంగ్ స్టేట్, షట్ డౌన్, ఓకే, స్లోనెస్ ఇష్యూ, ఆ టైంలో మీరు చెక్ చేస్తారు మేనిఫెస్టేషన్కి వెళ్ళి. సో ఎనీ కరప్షన్ హ్యాపెండ్, ఎనీథింగ్ హ్యాపెండ్, అదంతా మనం చెక్ చేస్తాం. అదంతా ట్రబుల్ షూటింగ్ లో కవర్ చేద్దాం మనం. ట్రబుల్ షూటింగ్ పార్ట్ మనకు ఉంది, సో విల్ సీ ఇన్ దాట్. ఓకే, సో లేబుల్స్ ఆర్ సింపుల్ కాన్సెప్ట్ బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ అండి. Labels are simple concept, but so to identify, to work on that parts, these are very important labels.
If it is auto scaling 2 pods, then the label's name would be same for the 2 pods?
లేదండి, ఏ పాడ్ కి ఆ పాడ్ నేమే ఉంటుందండి. సో మీకు ఇక్కడ ఐడి చేంజ్, ఇది ఐడెంటిఫై చేయొచ్చు, ఇది యూనిక్ ఉంటుంది ఐడి. సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీకు Nginx ఉంది. సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ Nginx, సో 5 pods కి ఒకటే నేమ్ ఉంది, ఓన్లీ వన్ నేమ్ ఫర్ 5 pods, రైట్? బట్ దిస్ యూనిక్ ఐడి ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్, రైట్? ఇక్కడ మీరు నేమ్ స్పెసిఫిక్ గా అసైన్ చేస్తే అదే నేమ్ వస్తుంది. అన్ని పాడ్స్ కి ఒక నేమ్ అయితే రాదు, యూనిక్ నేమే వస్తుంది. మీరు బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ ఇచ్చారు, బ్యాక్ ఎండే వస్తుంది. ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ ఇచ్చారు, ఫ్రంట్ ఎండే వస్తుంది. డేటాబేస్ డేటాబేస్ వస్తుంది. ఓకే,
సో స్పెసిఫిక్ అన్నిటికీ అసైన్ చేయాలి,
లేబుల్స్ ఇవ్వాలండి. రియల్ టైం మనం లేబుల్స్ ఇస్తేనే మనకి ఈజీగా ఐడెంటిఫికేషన్, మీకు ట్రబుల్ షూటింగ్ అయినా
క్రియేట్ 5 pods using auto scaling. మనం సో we need to give the labels to each and every pod, right?
yes, need to give that. ఫైన్ అండి. ఇప్పుడు ఒకసారి మనం ఏం చేస్తామంటే
one thing, ఆటో స్కేలింగ్ 5 pods కి చేస్తున్నప్పుడు అంటే 5 pods కి ఒకటేసారి లేబుల్స్ ఇవ్వచ్చా, లేకపోతే ఇండివిజువల్ గా ఇవ్వాలా? అంటే
సో 5 pods కి కూడా ఇవ్వచ్చు అండి ఒకటేసారి. అది స్క్రిప్ట్ ఉంటుంది, స్క్రిప్ట్ లో రాయాలి మీరు. సో అది మీకు వీలైతే నేను షేర్ చేస్తాను, రియల్ టైం చూపిస్తాను వీలైతే. స్మాల్
సేమ్
స్క్రిప్ట్
YAML ఫైల్ లో రాయాలనా స్క్రిప్ట్ లేకపోతే డిఫరెంట్ ఫైల్ అది రాయాలనా?
అంటే YAML లో రాయొచ్చు, YAML లో రాస్తాం జనరల్ గా. లేదు అంటే కమాండ్ లెవెల్లో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయొచ్చు ఇక్కడ. సో మనం ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నాం ప్రజెంట్ YAML లో రికమెండెడ్ కాదండి, YAML లో రాయం. కానీ ఇక్కడ సో ఇది మనం ఏదైతే కమాండ్ ఇస్తున్నామో, కమాండ్ ఎంటర్ చేస్తున్నామో, సో ఈ కమాండ్ ని స్క్రిప్ట్ లా రాస్తాం. బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ పవర్ షెల్ లాగా ఒక స్క్రిప్టింగ్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఉంటుంది. ఆ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ నుంచి ఒక లాంగ్ కమాండ్, ఒక స్క్రిప్ట్ అంటుంది, అది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తాం. ఓకే, ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే మీరు అట్ ఏ టైం అంటే కొన్ని రూల్స్ ఇస్తాం ఇక్కడ. ఇప్పుడు మీకు టెరాఫామ్ లో అర్థమవుతుంది, టెరాఫామ్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు అర్థమవుతుంది. సో యూ విల్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇన్ టెరాఫామ్. సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మనకు 100 సర్వర్స్ ఉన్నాయి. 100 సర్వర్స్ లో సో ఎవ్రీ వన్ ఏబుల్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ తెలుగు, రైట్? I think no. Some people are.
Yes.
Okay. Right. For example, మనకి 100 సర్వర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, రైట్? సో 100 సర్వర్స్ లో 100 సర్వర్స్ కి మీరు ఒక లేబుల్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ అప్డేట్ చేయాలి అంటే ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ సర్వర్ లాగిన్ అయ్యి మనం అప్డేట్ చేయం కదా. 1000 సర్వర్స్ ఉన్నాయండి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గూగుల్, USG, యునైటెడ్ హెల్త్ గ్రూప్, ఓకే, సో వెరైజాన్ డేటా సర్వీసెస్, ఇలాంటి కంపెనీలు తీసుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, వాళ్ళకి యూజ్ ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ ఉంటుంది. సో ఆ ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ లో మీరు అన్ని సర్వర్స్ కి లేబుల్స్ ఆర్ ట్యాగ్స్ అప్డేట్ చేయాలనుకోండి, ఇట్స్ ఎ బిగ్ ఛాలెంజ్ అనమాట. అన్ని సర్వర్స్ లాగిన్ అయ్యి చేయాలి, లేదంటే కన్సోల్ లోకి వెళ్ళి అన్ని సర్వర్స్ కి అప్డేట్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళాలి మాన్యువల్ గా. యూజింగ్ స్క్రిప్ట్ ఏం చేస్తామంటే ఒక సింగిల్ షాట్ లో అన్ని కూడా అప్డేట్ చేస్తాం. అదే టెరాఫామ్ లో మీకు అర్థమవుతుంది. టెరాఫామ్ లో మనం విజువల్ స్టూడియో కోడ్ యూజ్ చేస్తాం. Yeah, got it. Sachin is not understanding Telugu. Yeah. Basically, while updating any labels or names or tags for use environment, okay, like Google or USG, Verizon, these companies is having use environment, enterprise environment, right? In that, if you want to update any labels or tags, it is very challenge. It's very difficult to update, right? So that is why we use some script, Kubernetes script, okay? So that will help you to manage enterprise level. That I'll show you in Terraform, okay? Terraform, we use one interface which is Visual Studio Code. I'll show you quickly, will not take much time. This is Visual Studio Code, okay? So this will understand by developers basically. This is not code, this is script, okay? So here using this Terraform, using this Visual Studio Code, we can give the labels for n number of servers. For example, you have 1000 servers. You want to update labels for 1000 servers, okay? Using these scripts, normally we update. Otherwise, it is big challenge, right? That I'll show you in Terraform. So the same script will be available here also. Same way, not same script, same way in Kubernetes also. Okay, so that I'll show you later.
సార్ మనకి ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది ఇది డేటాబేస్ టీమా ప్రొడక్షన్ టీమా?
Labels అండి, using labels.
Yeah, I mean
labels
we want to give labels. That when we want to give labels for a particular pod, I mean, how do we know that which team is going to use this?
Yeah,
based on
initial when we are creating initially, so by the time we give labels, otherwise we cannot understand. For example, let us take small example here. We have a local data center, physical data center, okay? Local data center is a server room. In that all the servers will be available. So we have one data center in Hyderabad, data center. We have use environment, local servers. So in that, one server is giving some issues. How to identify that server? When we enter into the data center, how can we identify? Using tag name. Every server will have tag name, right? Rack number, tag name. So based on that only you can identify. So while installing, configuring server, we update that. Otherwise, you will be confused. Right? The same way, pods also environment, right? Containers, pods, advanced virtual machines, right? So this also we can identify using labels.
If the pods are already created, then how can we identify which pod is used by which team? So we can update the label as per that.
Yeah, if you, while creating, we update the tags actually. Also, once you create that, immediately you need to update the tag. Otherwise, we can't understand which pod is using for which team, which application, right? So for example, you created some pods, 5 pods or 10 pods. So basically, while creating pods itself, we can add labels. Otherwise, once you create that, you can run some script to update that. Okay. So otherwise, you can't understand which pod is using which application, which containers. Right? Yeah. Next one. You understand, right? Any confusion still?
Okay, sir. So basically, so when we creating a pod for a specific development team, so then and there itself we need to give that label name.
Correct. Yeah. For example, here. Yeah. So some development team pod is giving some issue. For example, development team pod is giving some issue. Okay. So only we don't want to open all the pods because in real time we'll have thousands of pods, right? So we can't open all the pods at a time. If you open, you will be confused. Even though labels available, you will be confused, right? So that is why if you want to open particular pod, okay. So command here is kubectl get pods -l, okay, in double quotes, team in within the brackets dev. Close the double quotes, comma, space, hyphen, show, hyphen, labels. Here's some round syntax. Kubectl get pods -l. Okay. Okay, some command is there, some syntax, something like go to get pods -l. Let's look at pod. Team in dev. Okay, fine. So some commands are not working here properly. Okay, let me check and I'll show you. If you want to get only particular pod using labels, so we can check like this, but it is giving some error. I'll check it out and I'll show you. If you want to get particular pod, -L, yeah, it is not working, right? Okay, I'll show you later. Fine. Particular pod using labels you can get. Okay, so that I'll show you. Let me check the command. Command sheet is there. I'll share with you. I'll check it out and I'll let you know. Okay. Next one is yeah. Still we have 20 minutes time. Theoretical part is there. Volumes. So we'll try to understand today. So networking lab is there. Lab we
So
have to
yesterday
perform.
you said namespaces. I mean, you said we can edit namespaces.
Yeah, we'll do that. Don't hurry. Okay. Divakar, don't worry. So
Yeah, I mean,
we'll
I think this. I mean, hello.
yeah. Go ahead. Labels.
Yeah, fine. I mean,
Namespaces.
yeah,
Namespaces.
fine.
You are
If you
asking.
want to discuss that later, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, we'll discuss. We'll go for that. Okay, one by one we are going, right? So storage volumes, persistent disks we discussed now. So it is theoretical part. So networking lab also there, namespaces also there, RBAC also there. Okay, and also troubleshooting session is there. Okay, we'll go one by one. Fine. So this is theoretical part, volumes, okay, persistent volumes. Let us try to understand this. Persistent volumes. So why we require persistent volume? What is the use of this? Where we use this? We'll try to understand. Okay. So persistent volumes are important here. How to store persistent data in real time. Persistent data means, for example, you have an application. If you, in that application, if you kill a pod, if you kill one pod, the data will be lost, right? So then you will be in a lot of trouble. So normally in real time, when we are working on, if any pod is corrupted, okay, whatever digital application, whatever microservices are running on that, okay, if the microservices are down, will be in trouble. Okay, issue will be escalated because digital sites, they will not have any SLA. For example, Flipkart is there, Flipkart or Amazon shopping site. So globally, everyone will access that, right? If the site is down, what will happen? Business will be impacted. Okay, so many escalations will be happened. Escalations will be happened, right? So that is why normally what we will do. So to maintain that application up and running fine 24/7, we use persistent volumes. Okay, when we kill any pods, the data which is available on the pod should be available. The data should be available somewhere. Whenever the pod is killed or corrupted or anything crashed, right? So the data should be available. So that is why here we use we have some concept which is stateless applications and stateful applications. stateless apps, applications, and stateful applications, right? So what is stateless and what is stateful? So stateless means no data is saved. Here, saved. Stateful means data will be saved. Okay, so this, yeah, in interview, this question, you get this question. What is stateful? What is stateless? In Kubernetes, when we attend interview, last time when I attend one proxy, I got this question. When I attend proxy for one guy. So what is stateless and what is stateful? Okay, stateless means no data will be saved. No data is saved. Stateful means no data is data will be saved. Okay, so if they go deep dive, if they go into inside of that, we can explain. So in persistent volumes, we have a concept which is stateless applications and stateful applications. So when we configure stateful applications, the data will not be lost when we kill the pod or when the pod is corrupted. Okay, stateless application means if the pod is corrupted, if the pod is killed, the data will be lost. Okay, no data is saved, right? So this is the answer. So then they will understand. Okay, fine. Next one is, yeah, we'll see the diagram here. So how the volumes will be attached to the containers and pods. Okay, so we'll try to understand. For example, so this is one pod. We have one pod here. So inside of the pod, what will be available? Pod level containers. Yeah, we'll have containers, right? So we have two containers, for example, here. We have two containers. Okay, so inside of the pod, not inside of the pod, we attach some storage to pods. Storage will be available in Kubernetes volumes. We don't create manually storage. That will be available with Kubernetes. When we configure Kubernetes, by the time that storage will be available with Kubernetes. In that Kubernetes, we create some volumes. Those are persistent volumes. For example, these are two containers. Container one. So in container one, some applications are using which are like /var under this /Apple application. Some, for example, Apple. Next application is /var /Google. Some application is going. Okay, two applications are running on this container one, right? And also here, this is container two. So in container two, /var /httpd, some application is running web server /var /nginx is going, right? So in this two containers, two different applications are running, right? So for which now what we will do here? So we'll have some storage, as we discussed. We have some storage here, storage persistent volumes attached to the pod like this. This is a volume symbol. Okay, that is why I'm drawing like this. So these are the different volumes available here. Fine. These volumes will be connected to containers when we configure stateful application. So stateless application means volumes will not be connected. Stateless means like use and throw applications. Use and throw means some applications will be there, like for example, some companies, they will launch some websites for temporary, for 1 month or 2 months. For the some offers they give, for that they launch some interfaces, some websites. Once complete that offer, they will delete that. So in that case, they use stateless application. Okay, so stateful application, when we create here, so using these volumes, we connect our container to volumes, like configurations would be like this. So this container will be connected to multiple volumes like this. This container will be connected to multiple volumes. Like this, connections will be established inside of the pods. Okay. So when we, this volume configurations we cannot check actually in test lab. Okay. So this containers will be configured like this. Okay. One container will connect to 3 different volumes or 2 volumes based on your requirement. So one, other container also connected to 3 volumes. Here what will happen? If any container is corrupted, okay, the data will be saved inside of the volume, right? If the pod is corrupted, these volumes are outside of the pod. I draw inside of the pod, but this will be outside of the pod. When pod is corrupted, inside of the pod we have 2 containers. So from these volumes we can retrieve. We don't retrieve manually. Auto scaling will help you to retrieve. Auto healing capabilities we have, right, in the Kubernetes. Automatically it will take the backup from volume and it will recreate. So by the time whenever it is recreating, we'll get notified through emails. So one pod is corrupted, so recreation is happening, recreation is in progress. Like that, we'll get notified through emails. Based on that, we can understand which pod is recreating, which container is recreating. Based on that notifications, we can understand. So normally, corruptions, this failures will not be happen frequently. Sometimes what will happen? Some applications crash happen. Okay, some patches issues, application patches issues, or any image issues. Image Nginx, HTTPD, we are using different images, right? If any image is corrupted, if any issue happened, if any updates are not updating properly, so by that time the corruptions will be happening. Pod corrupted, container corrupted. So that will be checked by controller manager. If any failure is happening, so instead of the master, Kubernetes master, we'll have controller manager that will check, that will monitor, right? And it will recreate the resources, whatever resources are failure. If any failures are happened, it will identify. So in stateful application, if any container or if any pod is down, so automatically using persistent volumes, Kubernetes master will recreate the resources, right? So these are the persistent volumes. Basically, this is the concept. So in interview, this question, most of the time they ask this question: stateless applications, stateful applications. Okay, this is we need to understand. We need to keep in our mind while attending interviews. Persistent volumes, right? So tomorrow we will work on Kubernetes networking. Is a concept which is very important, so that we can create lab tomorrow. And also RBAC concept is there. RBAC, role-based access control, that we'll discuss. And also namespaces we have, troubleshooting we have. Monday also it will take, mostly Monday also it will take. So we'll see that. Monday, maybe Tuesday, we'll cover that. After that, we'll start Terraform. how to delete the pod. Delete command is there, right? So delete kubectl, delete pod name. You can give pod name. It will be deleted. So I'll provide you all the commands. Okay, once complete the sessions like this concepts, I'll provide you all the commands. And also while working on Kubernetes networking, one more manifest file is required. So I'll share tomorrow morning. So using that manifest file, we can create networking. So one manifest file is there, new file, new for this networking concept that we can deploy first. If you want to create networking, that I'll share with you tomorrow. So inside of the pods, how can we check the pods inside of the pods and all will cover tomorrow. Okay, fine. So labels, you can practice labels. Okay, and if you are getting any issues with the nodes are not online, you can recreate the cluster. You can delete the cluster, you can delete the servers, and you can recreate the cluster once again, right? So that it will run properly. Fine, we stop here for today. Any questions, anyone?
So generally we create number of pods, right, in real time. So generally when do we create these pods? We get the requirements from the database team and development team, then we create the pods and give the labeling.
Yeah, so basically why we require pods? So normally in virtual environment, for example, virtual environment. So whenever project teams require any servers in the virtual environment, they request us to create. There is a ticket or they send email request, right? Based on that, we'll create. So even if containers
so if
also,
you get it from development,
yeah, go ahead. As per the development team requirement, we create pods or nodes or
if we get it from the development team, then we create the labels according to them. If we get it from the database team, then we create the pods and give the labeling according to their requirements. Right?
Correct. So we get approvals first. Before creating, we need to check the approvals and all. Then we can go ahead and create the pods or containers or using labels. So మీరు ఒక సర్వర్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తారు, for example, in your environment you have VMware. For example, you have VMware, right? So in VMware environment you are creating one server. So the server name is required, right? And IP address required to identify the server. The same way we give labels also in Kubernetes. Fine. So we stop here for today. So tomorrow we'll work on networking lab and also RBAC. We cover RBAC. Fine. Yeah. We stop here for today. Thank you all.